This is inhumane treatment of empathetic people towards narcissistic people. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Narcissist Exposed channel. I'm really glad you're here today because we're going to be discussing a topic that's not only thought-provoking but also incredibly important. We're going to take a deep dive into the inhumane treatment of empathetic people towards narcissists. Now, I know this might sound like a bit of a twist since we typically hear about the damage narcissists can do to those around them. But today, I want to flip the script and explore the other side. How do empathetic individuals, often seen as compassionate and understanding, sometimes cross the line into mistreatment when dealing with narcissists? It's a complicated and layered topic, so let's get into it. When we think about the relationship between narcissists and empathetic individuals, it's common to focus on how the narcissist exploits or manipulates the empathetic person. The stereotypical dynamic is clear: the narcissist is the villain, and the empathetic individual is the victim. Narcissists are often portrayed as controlling, emotionally abusive, and completely devoid of concern for others' feelings, while the empath is seen as the perpetual giver, always sacrificing their own needs for the benefit of others. In many ways, this narrative is accurate. Narcissists do, in fact, have a tendency to dominate and take advantage of empathetic people in their lives. However, what happens when that dynamic shifts, and the empathetic person begins to mistreat the narcissist in return? Can empathy turn into cruelty? To understand this dynamic, we need to start by acknowledging that empathy, while typically viewed as a positive trait, can also be weaponized. Empathy allows individuals to deeply understand the emotions of others, but when misused, it can become a tool for manipulation or judgment. Some empathetic people, particularly those who have suffered at the hands of narcissists, may reach a breaking point where their understanding of the narcissist's vulnerabilities turns into a form of retribution. This is where the line between compassion and cruelty blurs. One of the most common ways that empathetic people mistreat narcissists is through emotional invalidation. Once an empathetic person becomes aware of the emotional fragility behind a narcissist's grandiosity, they may choose to exploit that vulnerability. After all, beneath the narcissist's seemingly impenetrable facade lies a fragile sense of self-worth. When the narcissist's ego is wounded, whether by criticism, rejection, or failure, it often triggers a deep sense of shame. Empathetic individuals, knowing this, might use it to their advantage. They may belittle the narcissist, point out their failures, or criticize them in ways that they know will hurt the most. In doing so, they're striking at the very heart of the narcissist's insecurities, which can be devastating. It's worth noting that many empathetic people who engage in this behavior do so out of a sense of self-defense or retaliation. Having been hurt by the narcissist's manipulation and cruelty, they may feel justified in their actions. They see their treatment of the narcissist as a form of justice, a way of balancing the scales after enduring emotional abuse. However, while this reaction is understandable on a human level, it often crosses the line into cruelty. Using someone's vulnerabilities against them, regardless of how much pain they've caused, is inherently harmful. Another form of mistreatment that empathetic people may engage in is emotional distancing or coldness. Narcissists thrive on attention and validation from others, and when they don't receive it, they can become desperate or aggressive. An empathetic person, aware of this need for constant affirmation, may deliberately withhold affection, praise, or emotional support as a way of punishing the narcissist. This kind of emotional withdrawal can be deeply painful for the narcissist, as it reinforces their fear of being unlovable or worthless. In some cases, empathetic individuals may also engage in gaslighting, the very behavior that narcissists are often accused of. Gaslighting involves making someone question their reality, feelings, or perceptions. For example, an empathetic person might tell a narcissist that their feelings of inadequacy are imagined or that their perception of a situation is distorted, even when it's not. This kind of psychological manipulation can be incredibly damaging, especially to someone who already struggles with a fragile sense of self. However, this raises a key question: why would empathetic people, who are typically motivated by kindness and understanding, engage in such harmful behavior? The answer often lies in the toll that a relationship with a narcissist can take. Over time, the emotional exhaustion that comes from being in a narcissistic relationship can cause even the most compassionate individuals to reach their breaking point. The constant need to placate the narcissist's ego, the emotional manipulation, and the lack of reciprocity in the relationship can push empathetic people to a place of deep resentment and frustration. At this point, the empathetic person may feel that they have no choice but to fight back in ways that they would otherwise never consider. They may start to adopt some of the very behaviors they once found abhorrent in the narcissist: emotional manipulation, withdrawal of affection, and even verbal attacks. This can lead to a toxic cycle where both individuals are caught in a pattern of hurtful behavior, each justifying their actions based on the other's mistreatment. Another aspect to consider is that empathetic people often believe they can fix the narcissist. They see the narcissist's behavior as a symptom of deep-seated emotional pain and insecurity, and they believe that through patience and love, they can help the narcissist heal. While this intention is noble, it can lead to further harm. When the narcissist fails to change, or worse, continues to mistreat them, the empathetic person may feel betrayed. This sense of betrayal can fuel their mistreatment of the narcissist, as they come to view the narcissist not only as someone who has hurt them, but also as someone who has rejected their efforts to help. Moreover, empathetic individuals are often deeply attuned to the emotional dynamics of a relationship, which means they are also acutely aware of their own power. This awareness can sometimes lead to a form of moral superiority, where the empathetic person believes that because they are kinder or more understanding than the narcissist, they are justified in treating the narcissist poorly. They may feel that because they have endured so much pain, they are entitled to dish out some of that pain in return. This brings us to a critical point: the idea of deserving cruelty. No matter how much hurt someone has caused, does anyone truly deserve to be treated with cruelty in return? It's a question that challenges us to think about the nature of empathy itself. True empathy isn't just about understanding someone else's emotions. It's about recognizing their humanity, even when they've hurt us. And while it's natural to feel anger or resentment towards someone who has caused us pain, acting on those feelings in ways that dehumanize the other person ultimately leads to more harm, both for the narcissist and the empathetic person. In the case of narcissists who already struggle with a fractured sense of self, being treated with cruelty only reinforces their belief that they are unworthy of love or kindness. This can lead to a vicious cycle where the narcissist becomes even more defensive, manipulative, or withdrawn, which in turn fuels more resentment from the empathetic person. The relationship becomes a battleground, with each person trying to protect themselves by hurting the other. For the empathetic person, engaging in cruelty also takes a toll. While they may feel justified in their actions, treating someone with disdain or contempt goes against their natural inclination to care for others. Over time, this can lead to feelings of guilt, shame, or even self-loathing. The very qualities that make them empathetic, their ability to understand and care for others, become compromised when they engage in behaviors that harm another person, even if that person is a narcissist. So, where do we go from here? How can empathetic people navigate relationships with narcissists without crossing the line into inhumane treatment? The answer lies in establishing healthy boundaries. While it's important to approach narcissists with compassion, it's equally important to protect one's own emotional well-being. Empathetic people need to recognize that they are not responsible for fixing the narcissist, nor should they tolerate abusive behavior. By setting clear boundaries and refusing to engage in manipulative or cruel behavior themselves, empathetic individuals can break the cycle of mistreatment. It's also crucial for empathetic people to seek support for themselves. Being in a relationship with a narcissist can be incredibly draining, and it's important to have outlets for emotional expression and validation. Whether through therapy, support groups, or close friendships, empathetic individuals need spaces where they can process their emotions and regain their sense of self-worth outside of the narcissistic relationship. In the end, the relationship between empathetic people and narcissists is a deeply complex one. While it's easy to view narcissists as villains and empathetic people as victims, the reality is that both are capable of causing harm. Empathy, when misused, can become a weapon, and even the kindest individuals can fall into patterns of cruelty when pushed to their limits. By cultivating self-awareness, setting boundaries, and seeking support, empathetic people can navigate these difficult relationships without losing sight of their own humanity, or the humanity of the narcissist. Thank you so much for joining me in today's discussion. I know this was a heavy and complex topic, but it's one that I think is really important for us to explore with an open mind and heart. If you found this discussion helpful or thought-provoking, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, no matter what kind of relationships we find ourselves in, treating each other with kindness and respect is always the way forward. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.